From politics to entertainment, from social issues to lifestyle, from newsmakers to pop culture. If it's Jersey, it's on Jersey Central with Bert Barron.
What is it about the Garden State that makes it such fertile ground for high and lowbrow entertainment?
On the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey.
8:08, it's hour number 3 of Jersey Central, Tuesday morning on the new Talk Radio WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. It is Bert Barron. Good morning to you. Contest will happen in this hour. Chance to win a voucher good for a pair of tickets to see Clever Little Lies at the West Side Theater in New York City. You'll get a voucher that is good through January 3rd. You could see Emmy, Grammy, and Golden Globe Award winner Marlo Thomas. She has done it all, hasn't she? But now she's on stage in a show called Clever Little Lies, and your chance to win some tickets is coming up in this hour. We'll do it sometime between now and 8:30. My guest on the Raritan Bay Medical Center Jersey Newsmaker Hotline is a New Jersey native, Basking Ridge, New Jersey's own Andrew Muscato. And he's got a film that is debuting on Epix, the Epix channel, tomorrow. It is called Doped, the Dirty Side of Sports. And he joins me now on the Raritan Bay Medical Center Jersey Newsmaker Hotline. Andrew, good morning. It's Bert Barron. Welcome to WCTC. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for having me, Bert.
My pleasure. Great to have somebody from Central Jersey here on WCTC to talk about your latest work. So thank you for your time this morning. When you think about, testing athletes who may be doping themselves up or doing whatever they can to get an advantage on the field or whatever, the two names that come to mind for me right away, Jose Canseco and Lance Armstrong. But it goes far beyond that, doesn't it?
It does, and what our film does actually looks at the other side of that. Is I think most people are familiar with the athletes who have used performance-enhancing drugs, but this documentary, Doped, actually looks at the rules that Major League Baseball and the NFL put in place, and agencies like the World Anti-Doping Agency, which police PD use in the Olympics.
Is it true that as soon as a standard comes out for testing an athlete, all of a sudden the athletes start thinking about ways to get around the standard? Is that kind of how it works?
Oh, definitely. And surprisingly, a lot of these tests have been around for a while, and they're pretty easily beatable. One test for testosterone, which is the PED that A-Rod used, is just a threshold test. So most athletes know that they can just kind of coast underneath the threshold and they won't fail a test. So I think our film is kind of wondering, well, there are stricter tests out there and there are better ways of catching people, but it doesn't seem like these agencies or these sports leagues are all that interested in implementing those.
How was Barry Bonds able to get away with it for so long? I mean, if you look at Barry Bonds when he played for the Pirates, he was this skinny kid who could run like the wind. Next thing you know, he's playing for the Giants, and he's like 3 times the size as he was, and he's hitting the ball 500 feet. How did he get away with it for so long? Obviously, he was doing something.
Right. Well, actually, he was buying steroids from this guy, Victor Conti, and from this place called Balco, which maybe people are familiar with from all the congressional hearings. But Victor Conti is in our film. He's actually now this reformed anti-doping advocate. But about 10, 15 years ago, Victor was selling these what they call designer steroids, these undetectable steroids that could beat any test. And like I said, now the agencies have kind of gotten wise to that stuff. So there are actually ways to beat these designer steroids. So a lot of athletes have just gone back to using straight testosterone, like Lance Armstrong or Alex Rodriguez, because that's something that all of our bodies produce. So that's a little more difficult to detect.
In putting this film together, Andrew, which of the sports did you find have the most rampant use of these illegal substances? Was there any one sport more than another that it's more prevalent in?
Well, I think the film in general looks at how kind of what a mess all this is. I think most fans think that this issue of doping in sports is under control, but the answer to your question of prevalence is doesn't have an answer. Surprisingly, the leagues themselves or the World Anti-Doping Agency haven't done anything over the last 15 years to track prevalence. There's no data metrics that say it's 40% in track and field and 70% doping in baseball, or it's 10% in baseball. So it's all guesswork and anecdotal evidence. And so I think if the system is going to improve, there should at least be some way to track doping prevalence in sport. But right now it's just guesswork. And I've heard anywhere from 20 to 40% of athletes across sport are using some sort of PED.
Wow, up to possibly 4 in 10 athletes. Wow, that's a pretty remarkable number.
Yeah, there was a study done. The one study that I think that I've been able to find was done a couple years ago in track and field, and it was Harvard scientists published this paper that I don't think the World Anti-Doping Agency was too happy with the results, but it did suggest that 40% of track and field athletes had used or were using performance-enhancing drugs. And when you look at the tests, are only catching less than 1% of all tests are leading to some sort of sanction.
Wow.
There's clearly a problem.
Wow. Our guest is sports documentary filmmaker Andrew Muscato. His film, Doped, The Dirty Side of Sports. You can see it on Epix tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. That's when it will be making its premiere. So you want to see what this is all about and the great job that he did in putting together this film. Make sure you check that out. Is there something called a masking agent, Andrew, that a lot of the players use it to kind of beat the system and get skirted?
Yeah, so the World Anti-Doping Agency was created in 2000, and what they did, and this was kind of started by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and what they did is they created this list of banned substances. So it's an amazing list. You can go online. It's about 250 substances, anywhere from cold medicine to testosterone, marijuana. I mean, you name it, it's probably on the list. And masking agents, like you say, are on that, and the whole point of that is to basically just disguise a performance-enhancing drug to kind of try and fool the drug testers. And so it's pretty amazing the lengths that people go to try and get an edge against their competition. But
Yeah.
it clearly happens, and amazingly, the drug testers aren't as effective at stopping all this.
Yeah, I'm sure. How do we fix the system, Andrew? How do we create fairness when it comes to testing for these banned substances? Is there a solution?
Well, I think the more burden has to be placed on the countries when we're talking about Olympics or sports teams or the leagues themselves in professional sports, because we talked at the beginning of the show about about Lance Armstrong and Jose Canseco. Everybody knows the athletes, and all the onus is upon the athletes. But unless there's kind of institutional reform and the executives' feet are held to the fire, I think you're just going to get an occasional athlete here or there, but I think the responsibility needs to be shared by everybody in the system.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing the film Doped, The Dirty Side of Sports tomorrow night on Epix. It's 8 o'clock, and that will be the premiere of it. You could just Google Epix, EPIX, and you'll get all the information on the channel and how to find it on your cable provider. But this is definitely worth checking out. Andrew, thanks for your time this morning. And Central New Jersey guy on Central New Jersey Station, man, it worked out well. So good to talk to you.
I love it. Thank you.
Good to talk to you. Continued success with the film, all right?
Thanks, Bert. I appreciate it.
All right. Andrew Muscato, my guest, the director of Doped, joining me here on Jersey Central.